ANC veterans will meet the party's top structures in Pretoria. On Monday, the veterans, including Reverend Chikane, Mavuso, Msimang, Ahmed, Kathrada and Dennis Goldberg, met with the ANC National Working Committee led by President Jacob Zuma. They talked about some of the challenges facing the party. Some of them called on the president to step down. ANC spokesperson Zizi Kodwa says today's follow-up meeting seeks to find lasting solutions to concerns raised. Well, for more on this, we cross to our reporter Aldrin Sampear, who's in Pretoria ahead of that meeting. Aldrin, good afternoon. So what are we looking at here today? Possibly something interesting about Cosatu's announcement earlier this week of their support for Deputy President Ramaphosa.
Well, yes, Natasha, we're expecting the NEC to meet with the veterans of the ANC following Monday's meeting. Remember that Monday they had a meeting here at Irene at St. George's Hall where various issues were discussed. Quite important for the veterans is that call for for a consultative conference. And remember that the NEC had previously in September decided after consultation with its various structures, its branches, that there was no overwhelming call for a consultative conference as well as for calls for an early elective conference. So it was decided back in September already that a consultative conference or an early elective conference will not be taking place. But now you have the ANC veterans who have put that issue back on the table. Right now I'm joined by the spokesperson of the ANC, Kusela. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's first take a few steps back. On Monday there was this meeting with the ANC veterans, the importance of having that meeting, and now we have the follow-up meeting.
I think let's start off by saying as the ANC, we really welcomed that meeting with the veterans. We have always believed that our veterans are a fountain of wisdom who are always on hand to guide the ANC whenever it's going through a difficult process. Now, from that meeting, there were a number of issues that were raised. I think the Secretary General characterized that meeting as having been robust. It was candid and difficult at times. And obviously, we needed to then follow up with the meeting that's being held today. So it's really just building on those issues which are targeted at strengthening the unity of the ANC, building the movement, and ensure that we're able to confront the challenges that are facing the African National Congress.
I don't know if you'll be able to speak on this. You have members of the veterans, of the 101 or 106 members of the ANC veterans. Some of those are people who've been calling for the president to step down. But we've heard from the Veterans League saying that as the veterans standing here or who has met with the ANC, NEC and the National Working Committee, there was no unified call for the president to step down.
Well, we wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the veterans, but what we did hear them saying is that it is individuals who have been calling for the president to step down. They don't have a unified position on that matter, and really the issue has not come up for discussion with the National Working Committee. So all the issues that the veterans would like to raise, the NWC has indicated that they are more than willing to create that platform for engagement.
And what shape does today's meeting take? You have this call obviously from the veterans for a consultative conference, and the NEC had already decided that, listen, not now.
Well, it's no holds barred, really. All the issues that the veterans would like to put forward, most of them were raised in Monday's meeting, and we're expecting that from this meeting, then we're able to come up with a consolidated view on how we move forward. It's important that we stress this meeting is not a call on the ANC to remove leadership. This meeting is saying the ANC is going through difficult times. How do the stalwarts of our movement who have been there through similar difficult times guide the leadership to be able to handle our challenges at this point?
Final question. This is the final NEC meeting this year. And many have been asking what happens to the call of opening the debate around the succession debate, whether anyone will be succeeding President Jacob Zuma or who should be succeeding President Jacob Zuma. Yesterday we've heard from Cosatu, they've already said who they support, which is Cyril Ramaphosa.
Well, the 54th National Conference of the ANC will be held in December 2017. It is there where we expect that a new leadership will be elected. This process of election will come after a national policy conference that will be held in June, which obviously says these are the challenges for this conjuncture of our transition and what sort of leadership do we need to take it forward. So calls, unfortunately, like the one that Cosatu has made, are extremely unfortunate. They are preemptive, and we believe at this point should should not be raised until we've concluded the process that has been started with branches, where we're going out and saying through the eye of the needle, how do we select the best leaders for the movement?
What dangers lie in that when you have structures or members of the alliance throwing out names and saying these are the people that we support? But you've also heard from the ANC Youth League as well, well, not officially saying that who they're endorsing.
It's extremely divisive. I think the approach that has been taken by the National Executive Committee is one that says, how do we ensure that going towards the 54th National Conference in December next year, we're able to present a united front. We're able to ensure that whatever leadership is elected properly understands the tasks at hand, which require this political engagement and the policy process that we're still about to embark. So in the absence of those processes, which are there for a reason, it really just becomes opportunistic at this point, without any cogent political reasons being put forward for a leadership to be announced.
Oh, thank you so much. There you have it from the spokesperson of the ANC, Kusela Sangoni, explaining what today's meeting will be all about, and of course the NEC meeting, which will start tomorrow up until Sunday, which is the final NEC meeting. And of course the big event that will be taking place in January is of course the ANC's January 8th statement, and as Kusela has now indicated, the issue around the unity of the party will be paramount. And I guess when President Jacob Zuma delivers the keynote address at the January 8th statement, that will be a message that will be coming through very, very strongly heading up into the ANC's elective conference. Of course, the COSATU throwing it its hat, throwing it a name into its hat and saying that this is the person that we're supporting is really going to stir up the debate around the succession debate. And then on the other hand, you have COSATU affiliates like NEHAO as well as the CWU, the Communication Workers Union, that have called on President Jacob Zuma to step down. So it seems as though that COSATU as a federation is taking bold stance in terms of the political framework or the political landscape that the ANC currently finds itself in. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. And of course, this meeting that will be taking place between the various veterans of the ANC, that push for a consultative conference, whether the NEC will give in to that demand, and there will probably announcement will probably only come after this NEC meeting is concluded on Sunday. Natasha, it's back to you in studio.
Aldrin, thank you very much for that. Aldrin Sampear, live from Pretoria ahead of that meeting.